Hi lovelies, welcome back to another interesting tutorial. Today we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful trendy kimono dress. This kimono dress can be rocked with all kinds of outfits like your bodycon gowns, leggings and a top. It transforms your basic look to a more stylish and elegant look. This video is going to be detailed and is beginner friendly, so if this is what you like to learn, please watch to the end. Do well to like and don't forget to subscribe. So right here with me, I have this beautiful fabric. This is Koba nets, and I got 3 yards of this, and I'll be using this to draft out a kimono jacket. So to begin, we are going to be folding this into 4. So I first of all folded into 2 like this. This is it. I just folded into 2, and I'm going to be folding again into 4, just like this. Make sure that everything is aligned. Now, to know how wide you're going to fold your fabric, you're going to place your tape at the center back, that is the center of your back, and you're going to measure to wherever you want your sleeve to be on the arm. So after doing that, you're going to be folding your fabric into 4. So you're going to basically multiply whatever you have after measuring by 4. You're going to multiply that by 4, and then you're going to be folding your fabric into 4. So the easiest way, in case you cannot measure by yourself, you can just measure from the shoulder to wherever you want your sleeve to be, and then you add your shoulder measurement divided by 2. That also works. So right here I have about 22, so basically from 20 to 22 inches width is fine. So I'll be marking down 22 inches here. That's including our folding allowance for the sleeve. So I'm going to mark that here, 22 inches. So before I go ahead, I'm going to draw a straight line here which will serve as the shoulder line. After marking that, I'm going to be marking the neck width, and I'll be using 3 inches for that. And then at this 22 inches which I marked earlier, I'm going to be dropping it by 2 inches. And I'll be making a shoulder slant from the neck width all the way to that point. Now, going over to how wide you want your sleeve to be, you can go as wide as possible because this is a kimono jacket, so you can decide to make it as wide as you want. If you don't want it too wide, you can decide to set it for 10, but for me I want mine very wide, so I'm making use of 15 inches. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to be marking the length which I want my kimono jacket to be, and for me I'll be making use of, I want the kimono to be about 40 inches, so plus seam allowances, and for joining the shoulder and for hemming, I'll be adding 2 inches. So in total, I'll have 42 inches. So that's what I'll be marking down here. Okay, so now let me repeat myself. I first of all went in and marked a neck width of 3 inches. And then for my fabric width, it was 22 inches. From that 22 inches, I went down by 2 inches and created a shoulder slant to join the 3 inches neck width. And from there, from this shoulder slant, I marked 15 inches for my sleeve opening. And then from this shoulder line, not the shoulder slant, from the shoulder line, I marked down my length plus folding allowance and joining allowance of the shoulder. I marked down my length all the way. So guys, basically that is it for now. Okay, so from this shoulder opening, I'm just gonna go in by 3/4 of an inch because we're going to be folding this sleeve. we're going to be folding it by 1 inch inwards. So I don't want it to have any gaping or any rough edges. So just go in by 3/4 of an inch and mark that all through to the hem. So just like this. After marking that, we're going to be cutting the back piece first before we go ahead to cut out the opening in the front for the kimono. So for the back neck depth, we're going to be marking 1.5 inches like this, and I'm going to make a curve to meet this 3-inch point we had marked earlier. Okay, so basically now we have our back piece drafted out. But before I cut out, I'll first of all draft the front, then we'll cut out the back first, and then we'll cut out the front. So for the front, I'm going to be marking down 9 inches from the shoulder line. Okay, and then we're going to be making a slant line to meet this 9-inch point. But before we do that, we're going in by 1/2 inch. So the essence of what I'm doing here is so that the collar can sit perfectly on the bust after making this kimono. So this worked out very well. You're going to be marking 1/2 inch from this 9-inch point all through to the hem. Okay, so after doing that, we're going to draw a slant line to meet this point here, and we're just going to curve this in so that it curves in nicely. And after doing that, we're first of all going to be cutting out the back. So after doing this, I'm going to be separating the back from the front. So as you can see, the back, we have a full back piece. There's no opening anywhere. So I'll be placing this aside while I work on the front. So now for the front, we're going to be cutting out through this slant line here, and we're going to be cutting here by 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch we marked. So guys, this is what the front looks like. We have two pieces, one for the left and one for the right. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back the back of my kimono, and I'm going to be placing the front piece of my kimono on top of it, aligning them on the shoulder. Okay, so basically this is what my kimono looks like already. I've not sewn, but you can see how beautiful this looks. So the next thing, I'm going to take this over to my machine, and I'm going to be joining the shoulder by 1/2 inch all around to this side, and I'm also going to be doing the same thing for the other side. So I've gone ahead and I've joined the shoulders. As you can see, now I have my kimono in one piece. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be folding this sleeve opening we have here. I'm just going to take this over to my ironing board, and I'll be folding in just once with about 3/4 to 1 inch. I'm going to use the hemming gum to hold it down in place. I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve. So I've gone ahead to hem the sleeve opening. As you can see, it is neatly finished. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run over a needle across this point so it stays in place. You see, I hemmed it from one sleeve opening to the other sleeve opening, and this is a hemming gum in case you don't know what a hemming gum is. So what you do is you basically place it in between fabrics and press your iron over it, so the heat from the iron makes the glue to dissolve on the fabric and it glues the fabric in place. So that's what I use to hold this point here. So I'm just going to run a needle over it to make it stay in place. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do, I'll use one side to demonstrate what I'll be doing for both sides of my kimono. So after sewing down my sleeve opening, the next thing, I'm just going to turn this to the wrong side, and I'll be aligning the sleeve opening ends like this. So from this my sleeve opening end here, I'll be stitching down with about 1 inch from this point all through to the hem. I'm just using this line to demonstrate how I'll be stitching down. So this is how I'm doing this. I'm just covering from this end like this. So I'll be using 1 inch seam allowance to stitch this down. So before I get to the hem, I'll be marking up about 6 inches to 7 inches. Note that we have not hemmed the down part of our kimono yet. So if you have it hemmed already, you can do 6 inches or 5 inches, but because I'll be using 1 inch to hem it down here, I'm going to add 1 inch to that 6 or 5 inches, making it 7 inches. So from the hem here, I'll be marking up 7 inches. That is where my stitch is going to stop. So basically I'm just sewing with 1 inch seam allowance from this sleeve end all through to this 7 inch point we've raised from the hem. And again, we're going to be fixing a collar to this kimono. So to know how long we're going to be cutting out our collar, we're going to be measuring all around what we have around the neckline from one end to the other. So this is my neckline here. I'm going to be measuring down all around what I have around that point. This is 60. So I'm just going to count from there. Another 60. And I have about 3 inch extra. So 60 plus 60 makes it 120 plus 3 gives 123 inches. So basically I'm going to be cutting a long strip of collar that is about 123 inches in length. But you know, because we want to be on the safer side, we're going to add some inches to that 123. So let's say we're cutting a long strip of 130 inches in length. So I've gone ahead to cut out my collar strip here, and what I did actually, I cut this on fold. This is about 2.5 inches. I'll be using 1/2 inch to sew around the collar. So after I use the 1/2 inch, I'll be left with 2 inches. So our collar width is 2 inches. This is actually on fold. I went ahead to iron it down with my hemming gum so it stays in one piece. It doesn't move around while sewing, and this actually gives a clean finishing while sewing. So how I'm going to be attaching this, I'll bring over my kimono. This is the neckline. I'll open it up like this on the right side, making sure the right side is up, and then I'll take one side of my collar and I'm going to place it like this. If you notice, I put some like about 1 inch extra up there so that we can cut that out later on. So I'm making sure to put this on the right side of my kimono. So I'll be stitching down with 1/2 inch like this all round from one hem to the other hem like this. Okay, so I'll take this over to my machine and I'll join everything together and show you what it looks like. I've gone over to attach the collar. As you can see, I use 1/2 inch seam allowance to attach it all around from one hem to the other hem. So what I'm going to do is this. You can use your interlocking machine to weave it all round, just give it a nice finishing. And then for the side, I've gone ahead to join the side here. You can see how neat this looks. I joined from one sleeve opening to this point where we raised from the hem. That was about 7 inches we raised, so I stitched from this sleeve opening to that point. So opening up to my back side, this is what I have. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to open up my seam right here, and I'll be ironing this down from this point, ironing it down so it stays in place. And right here, the point where we have a slit by the side where our joining stops, I'm going to be using my hemming gum to hold it down in place before going ahead to stitch it down on my machine. So basically I'm creating like a slit at the side here. So I'll do the same thing for both sides and also for the other side of our kimono. And after doing that, I'll come to the hem of the kimono, and I'll also be hemming down just by folding up once like this with about 1 inch allowance. So I'll be using hemming gum to hold it down in place first and before going ahead to sew on the machine. So if you notice, I'm using hemming gum a lot in this project. That's because this scuba net is a bit slippery and it is hard to handle. So you need your hemming gum to help keep it firm and to give a nice finishing. So I'll do everything and show you what it looks like. I've gone ahead and I've sewn everything down. As you can see, I have hemmed it down as well, neatly finished. I have my slit by the side, my collar is neatly fixed. So now the next thing, we're going to be creating the pleats at the side of our kimono. So I'm going to be illustrating at one side so that you will know what we'll do for both sides of the kimono. So what I'm going to do is this. Just after this slit right here, I'll be marking upwards from that slit point. I'll be marking 8 inches upwards like this. 8 inches. And now to create the pleat, what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread my needle. I'll make sure to double it so it's thick enough. And I'm going to be pleating this side here. I'm going to be making like about 4 pleats like this. Okay, and then I'll be using my needle and thread to sew it down. I'll make sure to conceal the end of my thread so it doesn't poke out when I'm done. So basically this is me stitching it down together. So now I'm done making my gathers at the side of my kimono. You can see how beautiful this looks. I went ahead to do it on both sides. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to put this on and show you what it looks like. So guys, this is the outcome of our kimono dress. You can see how beautiful this is. I would like to know how yours turned out. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave it down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share and subscribe.